Welcome back to this special Business Access TV interview with the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Ronald Hinds. Now, Mr. Hinds, let's talk quickly about crime. There is a concern about the increase in crime. What are some of the things your members are saying?
Well, crime continues to impact the society and the economy in a number of ways. There's an obvious concern about violent crime. When we look at crime from its root causes, when we look at some of the social impact, when we look at some of the social issues that give rise to crime, we are seeing that beyond just the actual issue of criminal offenses and violent crime, we're seeing that crime has reached into not reached into the home. It obviously starts in the home, and we're seeing it impacting business productivity. We're seeing it impacting absenteeism. We're seeing it impacting people's ability to work a variety of shifts where there are problems coming out of work and coming out of their communities. So I think the business community is very, very aware that it's not just the question of when the crime is being committed and dealing with the actual violence, but the business community has now come to realize that it impacts the community in a wide range of ways. And I think we recognize that if we don't deal with the causes, we're not actually going to be able to do anything sustainable. And so very recently there was a forum organized led by the business community, bringing a number of people together, and we are now, as the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber, working with other chambers. We're working on bringing together a group, a sustainable group into the future that is able to address crime in a long-running, sustainable way, engage a range of stakeholders, engage the government. So yes, crime is a problem. Yes, crime is something that we want to see dealt with, and there are many dimensions. There are issues of the policing, there are issues of the efficiency of our courts, there are legislative issues that are being addressed now. You're asking me about legislation. That's one of the areas where legislation is important.
Earlier we spoke about diversifying the economy and revenue sources. How much of a role will tourism play?
Tourism is clearly one of those sectors that has promise. Trinidad and Tobago has not had anywhere close to the focus on tourism than many, if not most, of the Caribbean islands have had. The government has already signaled that that's one of the areas earmarked for attention, and one of the initiatives that is clearly at the front burner for the government of Tobago is the Sandals project, carded for Tobago. But we have a long way to go, because even for that Sandals project, quite apart from the hotel, there's infrastructure, there's airport, there are a wide range of services that need to be put in place for that thing to work. And so, like everything else, identifying the sector and identifying a project is necessary, but obviously not sufficient. You actually have to implement a wide range of things, and they need to coalesce and line up together. Now, with a hotel that is complete and an airport that is not, an airlift that is not in place, it doesn't work. Airlift without the hotel without the airlift, a set of things have to come together and have to be implemented in a way that makes the thing work. And once you try to implement a policy that has been promulgated, implementation and the ease with which the business people who need to be part of the implementation can actually get done the things that need to be done, those become some of the challenges that we have to overcome. Whether that's in tourism, whether that's in export manufacture, whether that is in financial services, all of these are areas that we've identified, whether it's in culture, business process outsourcing, the range of industry components and clusters that have been identified. But we need to get the show on the road, and we don't have 15 years to do this.
Finally, Mr. Hinds, as we wrap up, is regional collaboration on your agenda at all?
The region has always been important to Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, that goes without saying. Even if you think of it in terms of the manufacturing sector that has been a pivotal part, if not as important as oil and gas. At one level, it certainly has been far more important at the employment level than oil and gas has been. So when we talk about diversification, expanding the economy, I think we all recognize that beyond the Trinidad and Tobago market, the CARICOM market continues to be important beyond manufacturing. I think we expect that is going to continue to be so. And not just for Trinidad and Tobago, I think what I'm saying would be so for all of our businesses, because even when you think, you asked me about tourism and we spoke about sandals. Sandals, of course, is a Caribbean, specifically Jamaican, but it's a Caribbean product. And so when we talk about sandals, we talk about it at one level in terms of it becoming a part of the Trinidad and Tobago economy. And by so doing, it represents, just using that one example, a degree of Caribbean collaboration. Right now, we are seeing energy finds in Guyana and Suriname. And of course, we think that the experience that Trinidad and Tobago has in the energy sector is something that offers promise both for Trinidad and Tobago and for Guyana and Suriname. I think the same would be said for when we have discussions with our Venezuelan neighbors. So a lot of the growth and transformation opportunities, yes, we all have to look beyond the shores of the CARICOM and the market immediately surrounding us. But I would say we recognize that in doing that, there are a range of synergies that need to be explored if we really are going to be global.
All right, Mr. Hinds, that's where you have to leave it today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Business Access TV.
Thank you very much.
That was our special interview with the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Ronald Hinds. I'm Kenil Gale. Thanks so much for watching. Pleasant viewing.